Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And with that, there we go. With that, I do say welcome into another brand new live edition of Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. It is Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. We are live this morning from Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department. Their doors are open for their service department. Come on out here and enjoy one of the finest service departments in all of North Alabama. You can visit them Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 256-837-1111. If you need your vehicle serviced, oil change, whatever it is, tires, don't forget, right now you come out here, you buy 3 tires, you can get that 4th one for $1 here at Bill Penny Toyota. What do we have in store for a Monday? Well, first of all, the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline will be open to you, 256-576-4977. That's the number of the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the show on this Monday morning. We're going to recap the draft winners and losers of this year's NFL draft. Did your team help itself in this year's NFL draft? Some of the surprises that you thought you saw from the 4 days of the NFL draft, or I should say 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It was a record-breaking draft for the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll kind of reflect on that a little bit, and who had some of the highest grades. The final round of the Huntsville Championship, boy, I felt bad. Weather was forecasted to be not so great for the final round of the Huntsville Championship. They sent out an email on Saturday saying that they were going to move up the start times and put everybody on the course, pretty much get everybody on the course early. So they teed off on holes 1 and holes 10 for that final day of the Huntsville Championship. And the weather could not have been more magnificent yesterday for the final round of the Huntsville Championship. So great weather there for the final round. A final round that saw Harrison Endicott come out your champion in the second edition of the Huntsville Championship, part of that Corn Ferry Tour. So congratulations to Harrison Endicott. Now, Harrison had a little bit, I guess you could say maybe he had some home court advantage. His caddy was Brad Story, who is the head pro over at the Huntsville Country Club, who spent an early part of his career there at the Ledges. So he knew the Ledges front and backwards. He was on the bag for Harrison Endicott. That means Harrison Endicott now gets one of the fanciest trophies in all of sports, and that is the Saturn V replica trophy. And afterwards, here's Harrison Endicott on getting said trophy. So Harrison excited that he gets to enjoy that trophy there. Here we go. Here's Harrison.
All, I mean, with my IQ, I think this is the closest I'll ever get to a rocket. It's an amazing trophy, I'll tell you that.
With his IQ, it's as close as he will ever get to a rocket, saying Harrison Endicott yesterday. But he goes on to win the second edition of the Huntsville Championship. 16 under, shoots a final round 70. Goes 63, 67, 64, and 70 en route to the championship. Ben Taylor there, second at 11 under. Eric Barnes, third at 10 under. So what a great 4 days it was for the golfers up there at the Ledges. And like I said, yesterday they They thought they were going to have some bad weather. They ended up having perfect weather for the final round of the Huntsville Championship. And good news because Panoply also didn't have bad weather as well. So the old saying goes that if it's Panoply weekend, it's going to rain. Well, it didn't, at least not during the day. So both events had fantastic weather, and Harrison Endicott with Brad Story on the bag comes out and gets the win.
Yeah, and it was good for Brad Story. He's helped us out here at 97.7 The Zone on multiple occasions, and he was on the bag for Harrison Endicott. Harrison Endicott putting together 4 consistent rounds, 2 that are nearly record-setting, and it was a solid final round, 70 to kind of cruise in with a 5-shot win. So good for him. Hopefully, for his sake, we won't see him next year. Hopefully he'll get that tour card and be a part of the PGA Tour. That's what everybody's shooting for on the Korn Ferry Tour. But it was another great event, second annual event out there at the Ledges. It was good to be out at Falcon Crest for a couple of days and take everything in. And they were nervous about the weather. It did look ominous, for in the middle of the week, even into Thursday. But it can change, and it certainly did. And glad to see that they had great weather. Hopefully, they had great crowds up there. So another, really good job by Knight Edie as well, and all those folks up there helping everybody out and putting on another first-class event. And again, quickly becoming one of the must-stops on the Korn Ferry Tour.
All right, so that was that. I hope everybody had a chance to get out there and enjoy the sunshine on Saturday and Sunday. You had a chance to get out to Hazel Green on Saturday and enjoy some wings. Good time?
Yeah, it was a good time. We had, Mo Carter with us and Rocco DeSangro, who will be headed, out of our community soon. But, again, he's done a great job here for many years. And
headed to Baltimore.
Yep, headed to the NFL market in Baltimore. So he's really looking forward to that. And it was good to see him. Good to see Dingo, and Steve Moulton was with me. And took a full day, but recovering from the death sauce. The hottest probably wing I've ever had in all my life, and I only had one of them. But some really good wings, really good fellowship over there. We appreciate Charlie Wilburn and the Touchdown Club and everybody from Hazel Green having us over there. But it was a great crowd, and I'll say by a little after 3 o'clock, and they opened the gates at 2, Charlie was alerted that they only had 10 tickets left. So
wow.
Obviously they sold out of tickets, I'm sure. At the event, so it was a rousing success. A lot of people turning out. They had really good weather as well, as you know. So you had an event you attended as also. So all over Huntsville, there was a good weather weekend. So and into Meridianville and Hazel Green. So it was a good time and had some really good food out there at Hazel Green, and we appreciate them for having us.
Yeah, I spent the Saturday afternoon with the Huntsville Pickleball Association or Huntsville Pickleball Group down there in South Huntsville at the Sandra Moon Complex. It was the Over the Moon Pickleball event, and it was 3 days. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I got to get out there on Saturday and reconnect with some old friends, but we had a celebrity pickleball thing. Man, I can say I went 4-0 on the day and lost in a tiebreaker. We gave up too many points. The team that won was stacked, though. It was a it was a doctor from the area, and really good. But it was a fun time, and that we helped raise over $13,000 for breast cancer awareness here in the Tennessee Valley. So it was a good day to be out there and play a little pickleball. Fun. Pickleball is fun. It's like playing ping pong and tennis, but on a smaller court. It played a little wiffle ball. It was fun. All right, Jeff from the Borough with us on a Monday morning. Good morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, Jeff?
Are you guys ready for the beach volleyball and Gulf Shores? Scott, are you going down to Gulf Shores this week?
I am not going down to Gulf Shores this week. I have got to do something for the ASUN conference towards the end of the week, so I will not be able to do that.
I know UT Martin's playing the number 1 team in the country, USC, in the tournament. So I know they won the OVC, and that's who they drew. So they went to 6 teams that they got when they won the conference, they get automatic bid.
I think Stetson won the OVC, if I'm not mistaken.
Who's that?
Stetson.
No, UT Martin won the OVC. UT Stetson's not the OVC. UT Martin won it in beach volleyball.
Yeah, because the OVC championships was here, I think, 2 weeks ago. We had the OVC ones here. I could have sworn.
Yeah, they just had UT Martin beat up. I think it was in Moorhead.
I thought the A-Sun was the one that was here.
Oh,
too.
A-Sun. You're right.
Yeah.
It's the A-Sun that was here 2 weeks ago. I got confused. Stetson's in the A-Sun. Yes, you're right.
UT Martin beat Moorhead. It was in Moorhead. They won. They drew USC their number one team in the country because they expanded the field from 8 to 16 teams, and that's why the OVC got the automatic bid this time. They didn't before, but they've expanded the field that it's 16 teams now instead of 8. But and I did want to ask Drew. Drew, you remember what you told me after the Georgia game last year?
About the football game?
Yeah, you remember what you told me about Kentucky football? You remember what you said? We never had the dudes. So I guess these 4 guys getting drafted ain't no dudes, are they? This ain't very good. I guess we ain't very good in football. Getting 4 guys drafted. Of course, I just soon watch grass go grow or paint dry to watch the NFL draft. Somebody called me up Saturday and said, "What's it doing on ESPN?" I said, "Well, hey, listen." I said, "The first night is made for television. When you have 3 hires for one round, it's pretty stupid." That's been my opinion. And you got one guy going to Mexico to do a pick. I mean, I don't know what the deal is. Some season ticket order out there from the Bills giving, but we pick blah blah in the draft, such and such quarterback. I guess the Titans are going to have what you talking about, Willis, quarterback Malik Willis from Liberty. They picked. They'll find him a quarterback. They traded A.J. Brown, which everybody up here don't know what's going on, and John Robinson don't know either. He's about as clueless as a $2 bill. He don't know what's happening. And they can't pay nobody, so they got rid of him. They got somebody from Arkansas. Maybe he'll work out. I doubt it, but he might be good. I doubt he will be though. And Reed Blankenship signed a free agent deal with the Eagles from Middle Tennessee. Maybe he'll work out like Byard, because Byard didn't get drafted or he didn't go to the combine, and he's an All-Pro. That shows you how NFL general managers don't know what they're talking about. They don't even know who's good and who ain't, when they can't even draft somebody who's an All-Pro. They're pretty dumb, ain't it? But another wasted 3 days in Vegas for the NFL. I guess they're going to have 12 international games. I guess they'll be playing in Antarctica next, over there with the ice and the igloos. Next they'll be playing over there. So and I know, I'm sure y'all enjoyed another USFL weekend too down there in Birmingham. I don't know. Somebody told me about 900 people showed up. He's playing right now, and then a guy from Nashville up here played at Vanderbilt. They said they announced 9,000, so I don't know. Ain't no telling. It'll probably be about 6 months that league will be out of business. So, but y'all hang in there, guys, and I know Drew will never have the dudes to compete in the SEC, but we keep on getting them drafted, but we'll never have the dudes. And I know Mark Stoops is going to try to pass somebody in the Hounds dudes come this fall. He'll be passing him, and he'll be the all-time winningest coach in Lexington in Kentucky football history. I know y'all don't like it, but you just got to deal with it. Have a good day and have a good week. See y'all.
Well, it's about time somebody passed Bear Bryant. I mean, geez.
It's only taken 70 years or whatever. But I mean, anyway. All I said was they don't have the dudes to beat Alabama, which they don't. Okay, now he's done a great job.
Or to beat Georgia at this point.
If Jeff could get the wax out of his ears, I've actually been an advocate of Stoops for a while.
Right.
I've said he's done a great job there, and he turned down Florida State to stay there. But again, and they got 4 guys drafted. Alabama got 7. Probably could have had 9, but LeBron Ray and Chris Allen injuries during their careers kind of prevented both of those guys. I wasn't surprised that Slade Bolden didn't get drafted because Slade is who he is. He ran a 4.65. He's not an explosive slot receiver. Not surprised. If he had gotten drafted in the 6th or the 7th round, it wouldn't have been a shock, but it's not surprising that he went undrafted. He's going to have to, start from the bottom kind of and work his way up.
Yeah.
With the Baltimore Ravens. He signed there as an undrafted free agent. Chris Owens, I never felt like would be drafted. What I said, I mean, he's a good kid, a great academic guy, probably going to work in the Fortune 500 area when football's over, but I don't expect him to have an NFL career. I know he's going to go to the camp with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but that's going to be another situation that's going to be a tough one for him, I think, to make a squad. He kind of tapped himself out and got the most out of his ability. And then, of course, Josh Jobe. Jobe, you could say, is talented enough to, get drafted, but he had an up-and-down career production-wise. I think, when Nick Saban talked about complainers and not having them this year, I think he had to have been one of them last year. And I think that's a big reason why he didn't get drafted. Plus, he got hurt at the end of the year, didn't play in the national championship game, had to have surgery on his foot, couldn't do a whole lot in the pre-draft process. But I wasn't surprised due to some of his off-the-field things that Jobe did not get drafted.
All right, we'll talk more about the NFL draft coming up here in just a few minutes. Brandon's with us this morning. Good morning, Brandon.
Guys, did y'all have a wonderful weekend?
It was pretty good.
Sure did.
I thought I had a wonderful weekend. Got to eat a lot of barbecue this weekend. Went to the Rome Braves game. Made a new friend. Told Drew about that. Probably can't talk a whole lot about that one on the radio. But a buddy of mine back in 2005 bought a 70 Superbird Hemi from Algae Crumpler.
Algae. Yep.
Yes. And he run a paint and body shop here, won the World of Wheels a couple times, and he sold that car, and it disappeared. Well, it turns up at a car show in Rome, Georgia, Saturday.
Oh, wow.
I talked to the guy, and he said, yeah, my dad had it. He died. He's like, we've had it in storage for years. And he says, would you like to drive it? And he gave me the keys, and we took it for a spin, and he said that Algae had contacted him one time about trying to buy the car back. He managed to run it down, and that was a name with the Falcons that I never thought I'd hear again.
Yeah, Algae Crumpler. Yep.
Yeah, he had that car, and the guy Mark Werman that does Graveyard Cars, he had actually done a good bit of work on it before Kenny Newberry got it. But I wanted to ask you, and I wonder, Drew, how much you looked at this. Two things: the whole tampering situation about Addison that's going on.
Yeah.
Is there really a such thing as tampering? Because once you put your name in the transfer portal, you can be contacted by anybody.
His name's not in the transfer portal yet, and to add
to
it,
not.
Yeah,
and
I haven't seen it. So.
No, and to add to it, he is in Los Angeles today.
Yeah,
on a trip now.
Oh, that's dope.
He hasn't. He doesn't. We don't know if he's visiting USC, but the timing of him being in Los Angeles and all of this coming out is too much of a coincidence.
Oh, I agree with you on that. I thought that he was in the portal. I was trying to make sense of what I was hearing. Gotcha.
No, his name has not been put in the I guess. I don't know if it went in by the first or not. I would assume.
Well, it has to. It had to be in there by midnight last night, and as they said, sometimes it can take "quote unquote" up to 48 hours to get the paperwork done and everything, and for your name to show up. Because I think some Alabama fans were watching the portal for Theo Johnson. He's a tight end from Penn State, who some people said to watch, but I haven't seen his name go into the portal. And I was watching Matt Zenitz from On3 yesterday because he reported a lot of undrafted free agent signings,
right.
But he was also reporting people going into the portal. I never saw that one. And again, like Brandon's talking about, I never saw Addison's name. I saw, like you did, Scott, that they said he was on a trip, quote unquote, to the West Coast. At first they were saying he was going to Vegas, but he might end up in Los Angeles. And, Pitt had tried everything they could to keep it from happening. Pat Narduzzi was complaining about the tampering situation, and I think they said that some Pitt boosters even tried to step up the NIL situation to keep him. So
he even had, from what I read, Narduzzi has had 2 phone conversations with Lincoln Riley.
I'm not
Both
surprised.
of them have been rather poignant conversations.
I would have the
Lincoln
conversations
Riley.
with Lincoln as well, because I think, I don't blame Narduzzi for sticking up for his program. Because again, Lincoln Riley can sit there and pull the Jimbo Fisher and stick his head in the sand and act like nothing's going on, or try to deflect the fact that they're buying players left and right. But basically, USC was doing a ton of tampering. I mean, I'm sorry that it is what it is. If that was happening to Lincoln Riley, he'd be complaining and shouting from the rooftops too, instead of having Will Ferrell over at his house or whatever the hell he's doing. So
Well, I looked at that situation, and I've seen some stuff where people have said that they put their name in the portal and they put "do not contact." So once you go in there, and I guess these coaches get an alert. You can set it to where they're not supposed to contact you. Is it supposed to be a one-way street? I'm a little confused about how it works. Can anybody and their brother just start calling you once you put your name in the portal, or is it a one-way street?
Oh, yeah. No.
You can put stipulations in there saying
you
that
yourself can do that, but
yes.
But it's a free-for-all. Once you put your name in, any coaches and can contact you. Now, the gray area is any player can contact you if you're not in the portal. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people are speculating that they follow each other on Twitter that Caleb Williams was talking to Addison, trying to get him to go into the portal so USC could, talk to him and get him over there.
Okay. I was a little fuzzy on how all that worked. And did you guys see the tweets that were put out? I think it was Friday, about all the information that MLB has had about all of the technology that's been used from all the teams about stealing signs and calling stuff in from the dugout, and it appears nothing is being done about it. So they know about all this rampant stuff going on, and steroids are bad, but we can set up a dang NASA command center to figure out how to steal signs from people and know about it for years and not say a word about it.
Yeah, I've saw that over the weekend. I saw that actually a few days ago, and it detailed to the fact that, Houston did it, Boston did it, the Yankees have done it, and nothing is happening. Nothing.
And they've known about it for so long.
Yeah.
And nothing has happened about it.
Oh,
I think this is almost like a Spygate, Bill Belichick. I mean, the NFL knew about that and destroyed all the evidence so nobody'd ever find out about the full extent of it. And I'm just wondering, with baseball, I mean, at what point does that whole front office for MLB lose all their credibility for letting everybody bash the Astros? And they were sitting on the information about what happened with the Boston Red Sox and the Yankees and all these people, I mean, the entire time.
Yeah. I don't know, Brandon. And that's one of those things that
we all knew that Houston was far from the only one doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, they just happened to get caught.
Yep. All right, Brandon, thanks for the call, but we are
Appreciate
up against
it.
a break. We got to get to a break. When we come back, Travis Ryer will join us. We're going to talk some Alabama baseball, Alabama softball, and get his thoughts on the NFL draft.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning. Looking at several reports of fog this morning. That's going to be a bit of a problem for your trip in, especially if you got a long way to go. Traffic building in quickly. We're at a heavy level on most of the inbound routes. And still trying to clean up Panoply in downtown Huntsville. Watch out for streets blocked there. Snelling needs experienced staff accountants with solid QuickBooks. Direct hire, huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Did you know that your car, truck, or SUV may be worth over 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we'd love your trade-in for a personalized custom factory order on a 2022 Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, or F-150. You'll get exactly the color and options you want, and Woody Anderson Ford will save you 5% off MSRP, plus you'll get any additional Ford factory rebates. Or if you need a new ride today, choose a Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicle. We have over 100 to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with our 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. At Woody Anderson Ford, whether it's a new order or a pre-owned, we promise to always do the right thing. Corner of George and Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
If you need a car, Mccreary Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, Mccreary Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCrearySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
When we say local, we mean local, not Birmingham.
Loser.
We are the only sports talk station in Huntsville. It's all right here. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You've got a magical glow.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you till 9 a.m. We're live here at Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. They can get your car serviced. Don't forget, buy 3 tires. You get that 4th one for $1 right now. Alabama saw 7 players go in the draft. Baseball stumbles on the road against South Carolina. Softball looking good, though, still. A lot of stuff to get to.
Softball was off this weekend due to they've already played the majority. They only have one conference series left. That'll be Mizzou coming up this weekend. So they'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Missouri Tigers. But Arkansas has already clinched the SEC championship due to the fact of their results this weekend. So Alabama will be trying to hold on to that 2 seed for the SEC softball tournament that will be played in Gainesville, Florida, coming up later this month. But Patrick Murphy's squad still 39-9 and very much in the conversation for a national seed and hosting the regionals and the super regionals, which is what you want to do without a doubt. So, but baseball, they had their worst SEC weekend at the worst possible time, and we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about the NFL draft with our next guest, who is the longtime color analyst since 2003 for Bama Online, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Also does their daily BOL podcast with Charlie Potter, Hank South, and those guys, and the SEC second helping with our good friend Brent Beard, and that's Travis Ryer. Travis, welcome back to the show. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
I'm better than Alabama baseball this morning. I'm pretty sure, guys.
Yeah.
Otherwise, a good weekend,
Well, Travis, you bring that up, and you've been with us this whole journey and said, is if you can get one every weekend, you just kind of keep climbing that ladder. You get to that 13, 14 mark. When you don't get one on the weekend and there's only limited series left, that really puts you in a bind.
It does, and this is an Alabama baseball team in conference play anyway. You could kind of count on a win on Sundays, right? I think they have 9 conference wins. 5 of those have come on Sundays, but yesterday wasn't the getaway performance you wanted from Columbia, no doubt about that, and get out to the early lead. But, Grayson Hitt's been kind of every other start here of late, and it was the other side of that every other start for him. And, in the first couple of games, you lose one-run games. That's just SEC baseball, man. It's tough every weekend, and, that's really the difference. That's how close you are to, potentially winning the series by the time you're done with Friday's second game of the series, and then you end up getting swept. So, it was actually a Thursday to Saturday, so I got my days mixed up a little bit. No surprise there. So, no, they just I think Drew said it, worst possible time to sort of be in this spot, and it doesn't, as we know, it doesn't get any easier. I guess you're looking for some silver linings. They still look to be in good shape as far as Hoover is concerned, but even some of the 9 and 12 teams that they're tied with in the league right now have won series against them. So, it's still kind of an uphill battle just to get to the postseason.
Yeah, it is, and that's why you were hoping that at worst case scenario they had not been swept in the league all year, that they would find a way to get one of those games. But they dug a 5-0 hole on Friday, fought back valiantly to tie it in the top of the ninth. Drew Williamson with a huge hit, but they lose it 6-5. In the bottom of the ninth on a blue pit, and then they lose a tough pitcher's duel. Really, Jacob McNary's best outing of his career, the Athens native, gets them through 7 innings, and they lose 2-1. Travis, just 2 kind of gut-wrenching losses, and I think I read a stat this weekend. I think they're 6-10 in one-run games, and that's a huge swing. Where if you're 10-6, the record looks a lot better, and you're feeling good about postseason.
No doubt. And situational baseball comes into that a good bit when you think about those type of numbers, and specifically 2 out, runners in scoring position opportunities, and also from a pitching perspective, can you shut people down late? And so, they've still got some areas where they're a little bit deficient, but you just like a couple of 3 weeks ago, you felt like this team was ascending at the right time of the year. Now you kind of feel the other way, but still some baseball to be played, and they really need to get on track at home coming up here. Although you look at LSU, and they're coming off a weekend series win against a really good Georgia team. So again, Auburn's still on the docket on the road, and I guess Arkansas to kind of close it out. There's no rest for the weary.
I was just going to say, as tough as that series was this weekend, on the road at South Carolina, you come home, you take on LSU. If you get 2 out of 3 against LSU, all of a sudden you can kind of yes, that South Carolina series is going to be in the back of your mind, but you can turn it around and still be on the positive side if you can come out ahead in this series against LSU.
Yeah, you can, and we talked about it before. They've had some success on the road at Auburn in the past, so that's a series where they could potentially get a game or 2. But there's no doubt you've got 2 of your final 3 conference series in your ballpark. You need to win 4 of those games.
Yeah, you do. You need to find a way to win 2 series. I still think, Travis, the magic number in the SEC is 14. If you go 14-16 in the SEC, and then you need to get the win against Jacksonville State next week. You don't have a midweek due to finals this week, but if you can get that midweek game and you finish, I'd say 6-4 in your last 10, I think going into Hoover, you probably feel like you may need to get 1, but that you're in pretty good shape to at least once again be a 3 seed in a regional.
Yeah, and I think that's certainly reasonable at 14-16 in the league. But man, as we talked about, when you get swept, at this point of the season, and you kind of go 3 games below 500 at 9-12. The wins and the opportunities become more and more precious, and doing math on wins when it comes to SEC baseball is
really hard.
A lot easier to do like we do it than it is to actually accumulate them.
Well, Travis, baseball is a fickle game. I mean, 1-run loss here, a hit there, a hit, a different inning. It's a different story. You get an out sooner, it's a different story. When you look at this Alabama team and they're coming into this LSU series, is there something you can put your finger on and say, okay, if they're going to turn it around, if they're going to get those wins, if they're going to win these series, this is what they're going to have to do?
Yeah, the Georgia series, they just didn't score enough runs. I mean, they lose 2 out of 3, and you think about it, I think they scored 5 runs all weekend. So to even get 1 win out of that weekend was, pretty much a positive given the offensive struggles. And then, it was a little bit, I think, of everything from a pitching and hitting perspective at South Carolina. I think Andrew Pinckney is, doing some good things at the plate. But they're just not getting it consistently enough, especially for guys that are a couple of 3 years, into their time in the program. Not to single individuals out because we know it can change on a dime. But you've got some guys like Owen Diodati that you're still sort of waiting on a little bit in terms of consistency. And you had the injury to Will Hamiter early in the season. I'm sure he's had his ups and downs and coming back from that, but you're certainly thankful to have him back in the lineup. So they've had some injuries too, both to some arms and really within the lineup positionally that have been tough. But that's kind of the SEC. Everybody's dealing with stuff. I don't think they're built in a way in which they can overcome those maybe as easily as some other teams in the league can, but they're still in a spot where, you got to be careful. You can't get too high. You can't get too low. When they came off the sweep of Ole Miss on the road, you're thinking, man, this is the team that could be a 2 seed in a regional somewhere. And then a couple of weeks later, you're thinking, wow, are they going to make a regional? So, I'm sure that's what Brad's probably preaching to his team right now. Yes, there needs to be obviously a sense of urgency, but you just got to try to manage the highs and lows as best you can.
And before we talk a little NFL draft in Alabama, I gave a little overview of softball, but Coach Murphy's squad just trying to hold on to that 2 seed and stay in the deep conversation for a national seed and hosting the first 2 rounds of the regionals.
Yeah, I guess mathematically, if Arkansas were to be swept at A&M this weekend and Alabama swept Missouri, you could have a shared situation. But no, I think you go into this weekend more in that mode that you talked about, trying to protect the 2 in the league. And, it's a Missouri team that comes in hot right now. I think they've won 7 of their last 8 in the SEC and 2 straight conference sweeps the last 2 weekends, and really hammered Kentucky on the road a couple weekends ago before winning a series, sweeping a series against A&M. So it's not just that Missouri's playing good softball right now. They are hammering folks on top of that. And I think if you do clinch that 2 seed, and that means you win the series this weekend against the top 25 team in Missouri, you certainly help your chances as far as that top 8 seed goes.
NFL draft over the weekend, Travis. 7 Alabama guys hear their names called over the 3 days.
Yeah, I think we thought that number would be higher, especially after Jalen Armour-Davis went in the 4th round of day 3, and still had some guys out there like Christopher Allen, a Josh Jobe potentially to push it up to 8 or 9, and it didn't really happen. It was quiet final 3 rounds for Alabama, but certainly very active in those first 4 rounds. Players taken, I think, in each of those 4. So it was a very good performance once again for Alabama from a draft perspective. You had 2 first-rounders and some guys coming off injuries that I think, given their situations, and Jamison Williams and John Mechie, that probably the ceiling for them, the highest you could have anticipated them going in this draft, they pretty much were able to do that. So you're an Alabama fan, you probably have a little bit more of a rooting interest in the Houston Texans than maybe you had before the weekend. But once again, a really positive sort of stretch there for Alabama football, as if it needs more positive kind of free advertising for the program. But it'll be interesting to see how these guys, move on. And, even from the undrafted free agent perspective, guys like Christopher Allen and Josh Jobe, Slade Bolden, Chris Owen, there's always a chance that the guys make clubs as undrafted free agents. It's certainly difficult, but, there's value there with a couple of those guys.
Well, I just think two of them, LeBron Ray for a couple years with injuries, and then Chris Allen lost a couple. Those two guys would have been third, fourth round guys to me if they had been able to be healthy at least, Travis. I think they would have been guaranteed to be drafted. I definitely think they have value and talent, and wouldn't surprise me if they make NFL teams.
They play the right positions too. I mean, it's just difficult to find guys at their spots. And so, I would agree with that. For LeBron and Chris, it was really throughout their careers, early in their careers to the pretty much finish. It just felt like they were dealing with something, especially LeBron. Chris, for 2020, he was pretty much healthy. So you kind of got to see him a couple of years removed from the knee injury that he sustained early, and then before his final injury at Alabama, kind of what he was capable of doing. And so, no, I would agree. And for both, it'll likely come down to, can you get after the quarterback? I mean, we know that's what clubs want out of those spots.
Yeah, and then I thought it was interesting. The Washington Commanders, I've got to keep telling myself that to remember what their new logo. But they take two more Bama guys. They seem to love them. Fedarian Mathis continues to add to that D-line room with Bama guys. And then an interesting landing spot at the end of the third round for Brian Robinson.
Really was. I guess, the Commanders have decided that we pretty much filled out the defensive side with Alabama guys. We're going to start focusing more on offense. And, it'll be interesting to see how Fedarian fits in with DeArmond and Jonathan Allen and that group. So good spots, I think, for both those guys. You know what you're going to get out of Robinson. He's a decisive one-cut, get downhill, get behind his pads guy. So he can do some things off the ball that'll help him too. Made some improvement as a receiver, and certainly he's willing and capable as a pass protector, so that helps. But it's just it's been kind of crazy to watch this continued contingent, I guess you could say, of Alabama players that have made their way up to the DMV.
No question about it. And Travis, one final thought from you as far as the transfer portal. That's been the big topic of the weekend. The Addison situation is really kind of disturbing at Pitt, but we didn't see anyone else really go into the portal, yet there's still a chance in the next 48 hours for some paperwork to be done and some names to appear, but it seemed to go pretty well from an Alabama perspective. We saw a couple guys enter the portal in the last week or so, but looks like for the most part Alabama's roster is going to be intact.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you look at the numbers and you think, well, there's got to be maybe some more attrition here as far as some guys moving on. But, we'll see how that plays out coming up in the next few days, as you said. And but overall, I think they've held on pretty well. They've obviously lost a lot when you go back to actually in season in terms of just numbers. But they've been able to more than backfill for it and then cherry pick the portal once again. And as you said, I mean, there's still some stuff, as we knew going into the weekend, just the potential for more. So we keep our ear to the ground at this point and just, wonder at some point it's got to take a little bit of a respite, the portal does, but it's been a busy time, no doubt.
Really has. Well, Travis, we appreciate your time as always, man. Let everybody know how to connect with you guys over at Bama Online. We know you're going to continue to follow the be all over baseball and softball at BOL, and, of course, any developments on the football side and basketball as well. But let everybody know how to connect with you.
Yeah, just go to BamaOnline.com or Alabama.247sports.com. Either way is going to get you to us.
All right, thanks, Travis.
Thank you, Travis.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
All right, let's get our break in. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota here in the service department. We'll wrap up hour 1 when we return.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's got a wreck at Bobo Section Road in Larkin Sullivan. That one's coming in with possible injury. Word I'm getting is there's a school bus involved in it. 13 kids on the bus. Sounds like just one minor injury. I'm not sure if it's on the bus or in the other vehicle. We'll update you as soon as we know more there. Everything else looks good this morning. You be careful on that trip in. No hose, no mask. You could ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
The Kentucky Derby is this Saturday, and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar is celebrating by offering another awesome zone deal. If you haven't tried our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness, then now is the time to sink your teeth into one of Bad Daddy's award-winning burgers for half price. Our zone deal this week gets you $50 worth of delicious burgers made with premium Angus beef for just $25. Log on 977ESPN.com beginning Friday morning and get your Bad Daddy's zone deal before they're gone.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of Bosch's Quick Ice Pro, the industry's fastest refrigerator ice maker and bottle fill technology for hands-free, customizable water options, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. Save on Bosch refrigeration now with spring appliance savings at the Home Depot. Valid April 21st to May 11th, U.S. only. Gas range extra while supplies last. See store for details.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Happy Monday morning. We're live. Bill Penny Toyota Service Department, where they can take care of all of your vehicle's needs Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. It is the Bill Penny Toyota Service Department. We talked a little bit about the NFL draft there in hour one. It was a record-breaking draft, though, for the Georgia Bulldogs, as Georgia ended up with the most players drafted, 15 players drafted in this year's draft from the Georgia Bulldogs. The current 7-round format began in 1994. The previous record had been set by Ohio State with 14 players in 2004, LSU with 14 in 2020. That was the year Joe Burrow coming off the national championship. So Georgia takes the mark. The overall record, though, for players from one school selected in the draft, you got to go all the way back, Drew, to 1984, when Texas had 17 players selected in what was then a 12-round NFL draft. Notre Dame had 16 players picked in a 32-round draft in 1946, when the NFL had just 10 teams.
Yeah, I mean, it was a historic weekend for Georgia. I mean, they had 15 guys drafted to set the all-time record. They had 5 defenders go in the first round, so they certainly were validated for winning the national championship. I think it also validated Nick Saban did his best coaching job ever because this was a talented team he had, but not one of his most talented teams. He had 7 guys drafted, probably, if injuries had not, derailed some things. Not 9, maximum 10 guys from this team. But again, I do think some of Josh Jobe's, immaturity and things of that nature hurt him during his career, because a lot of times that stuff comes back to haunt you when you're being evaluated.
Right.
And then the injury didn't help him late either. Otherwise, he might have still gone on the third day. But again, that hurt Josh Jobe a little bit, certainly. And then Slade Bolden, he was always going to be a 6th or 7th round at best guy because he's not the most explosive slot receiver, but he's a solid player. If he can, earn a job on special teams with Baltimore, he could potentially make a team as an undrafted free agent. But it just basically validated the fact that Georgia had a special defense. Do I think it's the greatest defense of all time? No. I think Nick Saban's had 2 or 3 that were better because, again, my whole point is if you're the greatest defense of all time, you don't get your ass blown out in the SEC championship game the way they did and give up 41 points. And because there was no fluke in that game. Alabama was the better team. But by the time they rematched, Alabama was not the better team. Alabama lost a lot of guys to injury. Georgia had much better injury luck than Alabama and was the last team standing, had a great defense, and then Alabama had a chance for some younger players, the Javon Bakers, the Ajay Halls, and the Jaleel Billingsleys, to step up and still help win a title.
Right.
But we all know what happened. They all puked on themselves. And so I couldn't believe it. Maybe he has somebody in his corner, but there was a projection put out for only ranking the prospects for next year's draft. Somehow Jaleel Billingsley was 29 overall. I don't know who he paid to put him there, but I mean his production doesn't meet that. I mean, I know he's a talented player. He's going to have a great year at Texas to even warrant being drafted because he's never, the production has never met the talent.
So if you're looking at winners and losers from this year's NFL draft, as far as NFL teams go, the Tennessee Titans, I don't know if the Tennessee Titans got any better or any closer to winning a Super Bowl with this year's draft. Obviously, the headline for the Titans is you trade A.J. Brown during the first round. You do draft Treylon Burks as a replacement for A.J. Brown, but the pick of Malik Willis, I think, is an interesting fit. He's going to be a project, I would imagine, for Tennessee, but is Malik Willis your quarterback of the future for the Tennessee Titans?
I would not think so. I wouldn't count on that. I mean, I think he's a worthwhile gamble where they had to get him. Because you know me, Scott, I never bought the fact that Malik was a first-round pick. I mean,
I didn't know if he would be to me,
I think he made the right move transferring to Liberty, because it certainly Hugh Freeze put him in position to create value for himself, and he had a great career. But I still didn't think, he has the physical tools. Like, he's got the mobility, he's got the arm, but then it's still the neck up deal. And then the thing that bothered you is when they played against high level competition, he struggled. And so that to me is the reason he ended up, slipping. And I do think where they got him, like in round 3, was the 86th pick overall, was probably a good gamble there.
Right.
Because if he does hit, you haven't given up a first or a second round draft choice. And of course you've got Steve Tannehill, but I think this will be the last year for him in a Tennessee uniform. His contract, Ryan
Tannehill's deal is,
or Ryan Tannehill, my bad, I'm sorry. Ryan Tannehill, yeah. I think his cap is like over $30 million because of the contract they gave him. So, and Ryan Tannehill has been a guy that's been good at times, but not good. I thought he was terrible in the playoffs this year. And they say don't look like a Super Bowl contender going into this year. But I do like Traylon Burks, though, and I think he can replace A.J. Brown. I would not have paid A.J. Brown $25 million. That's what he wanted. Even J. Brown, I wouldn't have paid him that money.
All right, we'll talk more about the Tennessee Titans and did they help themselves coming up at the top of the hour when we break down some more of this year's NFL Draft here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Outdoor season is coming. Can't wait.
Here at Brooks & Collier, neither can we. Outdoor season is also grilling season.
And we have plenty of grills and smokers in stock from Traeger, Blaze, and Big Green Egg.
There's the greenhouse, new indoor items and home furnishings as well.
Whatever it takes. Browse over 2 acres of furnishings. Can't wait.
How about you? North Alabama's indoor and outdoor living headquarters for over 75 years.
813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
In 1982, Bob Baumhauer introduced Alabama to the Buffalo Wild Wing, and quite frankly, we've never been the same. Back then, it was Wings and Things in Tuscaloosa, but now, 40 years later, after 4 name changes, Baumhauer's Victory Grill is the #1 sports-themed restaurant in the state. Bob's Alabama Hot Chicken is something that has to be tried to believe, plus the new Bam Bam Chicken and the Louisiana-style Go Fish, a whitefish over rice topped with shrimp etouffee. And Baumhauer's is fighting inflation with some new affordable favorites. Visit Baumhauer's on the South Parkway today.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's got a wreck at Bobo Section Road in Larkin Sullivan. That one's coming in with possible injury. Word I'm getting is there's a school bus involved in it. 13 kids on the bus. Sounds like just one minor injury. I'm not sure if it's on the bus or in the other vehicle. We'll update you as soon as we know more there. Everything else looks good this morning. You be careful on that trip in. No hose, no mask. You could ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect a partly sunny sky. High temperatures topping out in the mid-80s for the afternoon. We'll also see a few isolated showers out there. For your Monday night, a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures falling into the mid-60s and a few isolated showers before midnight. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
2 playoff games in the NBA tonight in South Florida. The Miami Heat hosting the Philadelphia 76ers. The Heat will be without Kyle Lowry dealing with a hamstring injury. Joel Embiid sitting out at least the first 2 games of this series dealing with the concussion. Miami a 7.5-point favorite tonight, minus 320 on the money line. Philadelphia plus 260 with an over-under of 208.5. Later tonight, the Phoenix Suns hosting game 1 of their series with the Dallas Mavericks. Phoenix a 5.5-point favorite, minus 225 on the money line. Dallas plus 188, over under 215. For vsin.com, I'm Tony Desiri, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond hanging out with you for another hour. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department, where the fine folks here can take care of your vehicle. Don't forget, you can buy 4 tires for the price of 3. You buy 3, you get that 4th one for $1. So head on out here to Bill Penny Toyota. Let them take care of all of your service needs. And a lot of teams took care of certain needs this past weekend with the NFL draft. It is in the books. 3 days of picks out the door. And we talked about it before. The first round, you get that pivotal player, that game-changer player, but the draft and your team gets better in rounds 2, 3, 4, and possibly round 5. In some cases, round 6.
Yeah, no doubt. And our next guest has even mocked the first round of next year, which is nearly impossible, but you can definitely do that. And he does a great job. He's the managing partner of Draft Countdown based out of Mobile, Alabama. We've talked to him a couple of times during this draft process, and we wanted to bring him back in to give us an overview now that it's in the books. And I'm not sure he's had much sleep in the last few days because the draft is a 3-day extravaganza, but he's been good enough to join us once again on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline here on this Monday at our great sponsor, Bill Penny Toyota, and that is Brian Bosarge and you can connect with him on Twitter at Deep Fried Draft, but he's with us now from Draft Countdown. Brian, welcome back to Huntsville with Drew and Scott. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on again. I guess first to get it started, I know you and your all the guys at Draft Countdown have gone back and taken a look at everybody, especially Saturday into Sunday, who had the best draft. But in your mind, whose drafts really stuck out to you that they met their needs and you think they did a great job during the 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in Vegas?
Certainly a lot to like about what the Baltimore Ravens
yes.
did. And I feel like we can almost say that every single year. They're one of those teams that they don't make any rash decisions. They let the draft come to them. And this year, Kyle Hamilton, safety from Notre Dame, one of the 3 or 4 best players in this draft class, falls right in their lap. Was it a position of overwhelming need? No, but you don't pass up on a talent like that. Tyler Linderbaum, one of my favorite players to watch in this class, at a position of need, falls right in their lap, pick 25, after they traded their wide receiver Marquise Brown to Arizona. They acquired another 4th-round pick, moved back. They had 6 4th-round picks where they just drafted, some of the best players in this draft class that were still on the board. David Jobe, a first-round pass rusher, towards Achilles at his pro day from Michigan. Guessing John Harbaugh called Jim up, see how that was going, got the okay. And then getting Travis Jones, a first-round talent at defensive tackle in the 3rd round. It's one of the best classes out there this year was Baltimore's.
Wow. Well, what was one of the flip sides then? If Baltimore had one of the best, there's always that team that didn't help themselves like they probably should have.
Well, I mean, it's easy to say Miami here because they only had 4 draft picks, and their first pick was until the 104th pick of the draft.
Right.
But as far as teams that made a lot of picks, New England kind of stands out as a team that had made some weird decisions. they took Cole Strange, the offensive guard from Chattanooga, in the first round. I like Cole Strange as a player. I just didn't like him 29 overall. In the second round at pick 50, they took Con Thornton, the wide receiver from Baylor. While he's very fast, he's not very good as a receiver prospect. I had him 175th on my board, and he was drafted 50th overall. Then they took a few other question marks in the third round. They had corner Marcus Jones, who I really love as a player, and would have had a second-round grade on Jones, but he had double shoulder surgery in the offseason. I don't know what the medical outlook is for that, but generally speaking, if you're a corner and you have both of your shoulders operated on, that's probably not a good thing, right?
Yeah, especially if you're trying to cover that football.
Yeah. Well, and then we talked about before break and even into break off the air, Scott and I were discussing the Titans. We had a caller call in that was really disturbed about them not paying A.J. Brown. Personally, I wouldn't have paid him $20 to $25 million. I think he's a really good receiver, but not worth that kind of money. They replaced him with Treylon Burks, who I personally really like, Brian. I don't know what kind of grade you had on him. And then they get an interesting pick in the third round because Malik Willis fell to the 86th pick. We know that they have Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, but again, he's somebody due to the cap hit. They were going to have to keep him this year. We'll see what going forward. Now, Willis could be one of the ultimate steals of the draft, but if you take him in the third round, it's not nearly as dangerous to me as a first or a second-round pick. What did you think of the Titans draft?
I actually saw some mock drafts with the Titans taking Willis in the first round with that.
Right.
With their first round pick. So getting him in the third, yes, it's a lot. You're risk averse at that point, right? I think it's a perfect landing spot for Malik Willis because he doesn't have to play at all this year in theory. He could be that number 3 quarterback that's not even active on game days. And, you're paying Ryan Tannehill and he sits back and learns what it's like to be an NFL quarterback. He needed more development than any of the other guys that were once touted as first round picks at that position. Willis' pocket presence is abysmal as far as I'm concerned. He takes way too many sacks. He's got to learn how to process faster. If he can get that in that offense with Tennessee, where he won't have to throw the ball 40 times a game, they're very run dependent and can work on that play action and get that pocket presence down. Tennessee could have that, yes, definitely a steal here in the third round. As far as go back to Treylon Burks right quick, he's essentially almost a clone of A.J. Brown, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're almost built exactly the same. Their games are very similar. So instead of $25 million per to A.J. Brown, you're now going $3 million per to Treylon Burks. The only difference is, A.J. Brown's proven he can do it at the NFL level. Burks hasn't. But if Burks can't give you that level of production, then, yeah, it's a great trade-off. I also really like their selection of Roger Mccreary at the top of the second round. I think if you go back and watch his tape, he's one of the best pure cover corners in this draft. He just has shorter arms and didn't run as fast as what, a lot of the top corners do. But if you go back and watch him cover Jamar Chase in college or Treylon Burks, or these Alabama receivers, their worst games as collegians came against Roger Mccreary when he was covering them. So I really like that pick there by Tennessee.
What did you think of the Atlanta Falcons?
Oh, the Atlanta another team that took a chance on that quarterback in the third round that can sit and develop and potentially have great upside for them. Learn behind Marcus Mariota this year, Desmond Ridder. They get him in the third. And I think that was a good landing spot for him. They constantly feel like they're always in need of a pass rusher, and they attack that with their second and third round picks, getting Arnold Ebiketie from Penn State and D'Angelo Malone from Western Kentucky, two of the guys I think who have the best bend around the edge of any of the pass rushers in this class. I think their speed and athletic ability, they're a little undersized, both of them for traditional defensive ends, but I think Atlanta gets a good spot there. Drake London, I'm kind of a wait and see on him. He was my 4th wide receiver in this class. I think he was very productive at SC, but it's like I feel like he's very similar to what Kyle Pitts does in their offense. Like I think they're almost similar players, not as one's a receiver, one's a tight end, but I think it's kind of overlap there where maybe if they would have gone with one of the smaller, faster receivers, Garrett Wilson or Olave or even Jamison Williams at that man, I think would have been more replacing what they're essentially getting with what they lost with Calvin Ridley. I think one of those guys would have done a better job of replacing Ridley than what Drake London was. Also, like Troy Anderson, their late second-round pick, the linebacker from Montana State, freak athlete, so quick, 4.42 he ran a 4.42 40 at 243 pounds, 6'3", and played quarterback, played fullback, played linebacker at Montana State, and was one of the best cover linebackers at the Senior Bowl.
Well, and we're talking to Brian Bosarge. He's a Deep Fried Draft on Twitter. He's the managing partner for Draft Countdown, and I know I've already been kind of going over some of the teams that you really liked in the draft and some of the selections you liked. Some of the selections of the Titans and the Falcons and what they did, and as you said, what's another squad in your mind that kind of stood out as a winner for how they handled everything in your mind besides the Baltimore Ravens?
The New York Jets, I thought, were really good. Getting Ahmad Gardner at 4 corner was one of their biggest holes on their team, and he was one of the best corners in this draft. He ends up being the second one off the board right after Derek Stingley. Garrett Wilson, arguably the best receiver in this class. They get it 10 overall, 4.38 speed, can take the top off the defense. And then a guy I actually had mocked to them going 4th overall, they trade back into the first round at 26 and draft Jermaine Johnson from Florida State, a pass rusher that they can now put opposite of Carl Lawson, who they signed as a free agent last year. They get it 26 instead of 4. And so that's just extreme value there for a guy who transferred from Georgia to Florida State, 11-plus sacks this year, dominated the first 2 Senior Bowl practices. Then they get a stud, the best running back on the board with Breece Hall.
I liked that pick, yeah.
Second round, and then they get and then you get a contributor at tight end to help out Zach Wilson. Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio State probably goes higher in this draft if he was able to test, but got hurt during the second Senior Bowl practice this year and was unable to test before the draft.
The Pittsburgh Steelers found themselves a quarterback in Kenny Pickett, a quarterback that they're going to have to use right away since they don't have Ben Roethlisberger anymore. It depends on where I look and what I see. Kenny Pickett has a lot of upside, but they say his ceiling may already be there. What's your thoughts on Pittsburgh going with Kenny Pickett?
I mean, they had the choice of every quarterback in this class, and they've seen him more than any other quarterback because they share the same facility with the Pitt Panthers. So they were obviously very comfortable with him. He's another I don't think is going to start right away. He'll probably end up being the starter by midseason. I would imagine they'll get sick of looking at Mitchell Trubisky at some point and hand the reins over to Kenny Pickett here. Probably sooner rather than later. But, yes, I agree that of the main quarterbacks in this class, he had the lowest ceiling, but his floor probably the highest of that. I think your best-case scenario with Kenny Pickett is probably someone like Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins-level quarterback in the NFL, that's probably, if you get that, then that's probably the best you're going to do.
Well, and I thought they had a couple other interesting picks, the Steelers. Round 2, they take George Pickens, who's been more about potential than production, but he does look good in his uniform, and he has made a few plays, but he had to come back from an ACL tear last year to get back to make 5 catches, including a big one in the national championship game. But the one that is very intriguing to me is their 3rd-round pick of DeMarvin Leal, who is coming from Texas A&M, who I always thought was a talented player. Maybe didn't quite have the production consistently you saw, but if they can reach him with Pittsburgh, perhaps he's a steal in round 3.
Yeah, he was. I mean, early in this process, he was the top interior defensive line prospect in this class. But as the season went on, outside of the Alabama game this year, where he was dominant in that contest, one of the big reasons why A&M was able to pull off that win. Other than that, though, he kind of struggled, or he would disappear for periods of time, and that's just the consistency level is something that Pittsburgh's going to have to try to get out of him. They have one of the best defensive line coaches in the league, so it's you feel like he's going to get the best coach. He's going to get coached up to it. It's all. If he can't do it there, he's probably not going to do it. And as far as George, to go back to George Pickens, Pittsburgh has a history of drafting these receivers in the second round that fall to them, and it's kind of a mixed bag. For every Chase Claypool they draft, they get a James Washington. So it's very inconsistently here. You hope you're getting the high end of Pickens, but there was a reason he fell to 52 as opposed to based on his talent level that you would expect could have been a first round pick.
Mm-hmm. No question about it. And Brian, I know as far as just the individual picks that you may think are steals for organizations. I know you've mentioned a couple in our conversation early, especially Kyle Hamilton dropping to 14 to the Baltimore Ravens, who I know you really love their draft. Was there another prospect that you really had your eyes on that you had graded that you think an organization may have stolen them?
It's hard not to look at the Philadelphia Eagles getting Nakobe Dean.
Third round,
in the third round. 25. It was 25 overall on my board to get him at 83. Of course, he's had all sorts of injuries throughout his career at Georgia, minor injuries, but that piles up, and then you compile all those injuries with no testing data this off season, and then the fact that he's 5'11", 229 pounds. All that. That's how you end up in the middle of the third round, as opposed to a late first round pick where you probably should have been drafted. So if Nakobe Dean is injury free and plays as well as he is, then that's an absolute steal in the third round, maybe even the steal of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's saying a lot because he was the Butkus Award winner. I knew his size would hurt him a little bit because he's 5'11", but you're right. There was also a wrist injury that they said he didn't have repaired, and he did have several injuries. I still was surprised he didn't go somewhere at least in round 2, though, and I agree with you, Brian. I think due to his production, he could be a steal because we've seen some undersized, the Zach Thomases and the Sam Mills in the past that have still been really, really good NFL players.
Yeah, if Nakobe Dean is in the conversation at the end of the year for Defensive Rookie of the Year, I wouldn't be surprised. He's going to put up – he'll have a chance to put up, those big tackle numbers that get you those awards, and don't be surprised if he's not in that conversation. I'm willing to bet he's got one of the lower – if you go to some of the betting sites, I bet he's got some of the lower odds to be a Defensive Rookie of the Year right now.
And I'd be remiss if as we're wrapping it up with you, I know you guys at Draft Countdown already mocked out the first round next year, which is a really an ambitious thing to do because we don't know how the process is going to play out because Sam Howell was thought to be a first round pick maybe a year ago, and he didn't have the kind of year people thought. He goes the first pick of the 5th round to the Washington Commanders, so a lot of things can change. But what sticks out to you about the potential of the 2023 draft?
It's funny you say that because in my first mock draft for this past season, the first 2 picks in that draft were Sam Howell and Spencer Rattler. So
right.
The things can change very quickly. Just off the top, if C.J. Stroud continues to develop as he did last season, I think you won't have a question over who will be the number 1 pick in the draft next year. I think he'll easily, with his size and passing ability, you'll have teams actually clamoring to draft him number 1 overall. That's if you see the continued development. That became the issue with, the Rattlers and Howells and everything into this year's draft. Bryce Young from Alabama is another quarterback that his size is probably because they're listing him at one size. I don't think he's that big. I don't think he's 6 foot. I don't think he's 200 pounds. So it's. That's going to be a hamper on him. But another quarterback, Tyler Van Dyke from Miami, is another that I want to see a year of development in to see where he's at. But I think we're going to see more quarterback activity at the top of the board next year. And then, of course, you have Will Anderson from Alabama, the pass rusher, who will be every bit as highly thought of as the ones that went, if not more, as the ones that went high this year.
So the lack of quarterbacks taken high in this year's draft won't be that issue next year, we don't think, right?
In theory,
in theory. True.
Yeah.
We got to play the season out first.
Yeah, and it just depends. I mean, if the worst team in football is still someone that's if it's the Jags again, for example, and they've still got Trevor Lawrence, I would think that they would probably take a Will Anderson first overall. But if it's somebody like the Atlanta Falcons who need a quarterback, then almost assuredly it would be a C.J. Stroud or a Bryce Young, no doubt about it, Brian, depending on who ends up with that number 1 overall pick. But you do a great job with Draft Countdown. We've always appreciated the conversation when you've come on with us the last couple of years. But let everybody know how to connect with you. And, again, your process and what you guys do never stops.
No, it really doesn't. We'll take about a month and a half off over the summer to kind of recharge the batteries before we start deep diving into these 2023 prospects. But you can follow me, and everything I do will be on Twitter at Deep Fried Draft, and follow all of our work at draftcountdown.com. We're going to have division-by-division reviews coming up within this week.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, some good NFL draft talk there. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll kind of recap all of that and talk some more college football along the way.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a new wreck in Decatur. This one's Point Mallard Parkway near Upper River Road. That one is coming in with injuries. Bobo Section and Larkin Sullivan had a bus involved. We had an injury reported there. Nobody's going to the hospital from that one, though. They're just about ready to clear it. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship Jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's Club Repair Shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner. Unmatched in the North Alabama area, it is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at GunnersLandingGolf.com. That's GunnersLandingGolf.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
With a new face at first and some of the best arms in the National League, this 2022 Braves team is loaded up for another run at the crown.
Swung on, lifted high and deep to right field, headed for the chop house, heads up out there, gone, home run!
Tonight, the battle for the NL East gets an early test on the road in New York as the Braves roll into Citi Field to take on the New York Mets. Braves radio's on the air at 5:55 Eastern, 4:55 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Who wants coffee? Anybody wants coffee?
Can you get me off the hook? Type tired.
Tom Abraham, weekdays from 10 till noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All lines are open. Feel free to jump in. 256-576-4977.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. Welcome in. 256-576-4977. That is the number to said Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And we do want to hear from you on a Monday morning that has the draft in the rearview mirror. Has college football in kind of a, I guess you could say, a summer vacation pattern. You can't recruit, right? I mean, you got the dead period right now, right? You got
the transfer portal has closed until
the
last announcements are processed, and that's for 3 months.
So,
until
we're kind of in that lull right now.
In other words, if there's news, it's usually bad, and I have something to report, and it's not good. But anyway, it's
what is that?
It's Elijah Ricks, the transfer corner from LSU to Alabama, according to the Jones County, Mississippi Police Department, and he was pulled over in the state of Mississippi for speeding and marijuana possession. So he will be running a lot of stairs, and he will be in the doghouse for a while. So he had an unfortunate incident over the weekend that's just now being reported. So Elijah Ricks was arrested, unfortunately. So hate to see that. So he'll have some discipline issues to deal with. Be something. Nick Saban was in a minor car accident as well. Was unharmed in that situation. So, but again, usually you're just talking about it, Scott. If in this now, calm period before the fourth quarter program starts, as far as for workouts in late May and early June, and when it starts cranking up to prepare yourself for fall camp. Until August. Any news between now and August usually is not good. Usually it's because you've ran afoul of the law or something. And so if it's quiet, it's great.
Yes.
It means there's no trouble. But again, unfortunate situation for Elias Ricks. But as far as the NFL, there's still free agent signings going on, and Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network reporting Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, who was a free agent, Scott, is going home. It looks like it won't be announced for another day or two officially, but he's going to sign with the New Orleans Saints and bring his talents to his hometown in New Orleans, where he grew up before rising to stardom with the LSU Tigers. And so that's a big addition for Dennis Allen and the New Orleans Saints to snag Tyrann Mathieu.
That is a big one, and we will keep an eye on that. And I saw over the weekend that the Las Vegas Raiders did not exercise the fifth-year option for Josh Jacobs.
That's
now,
right.
Before you sit there and be like, pound on the table, not you, but before you get everyone listening gets upset, don't worry. The Las Vegas Raiders did not pick up any of the fifth-year options for anybody in that draft class. So all of those guys will be playing their last year of their rookie contract coming up this year.
That's right.
All of them will be. The Raiders did not pick up any fifth-year options that were available to them.
And Josh Jacobs the last couple of years has gotten banged up and missed some time, so this will be a big year for him. He was tremendous as a rookie. And has had a good run with the Las Vegas Raiders, but that's the way it is with at the running back position. A lot of times they kind of chew you up, and then it's hard to get that second contract. And so Josh will be playing for that this year in what could be his final year with the Las Vegas Raiders. But if he has a big year, potentially maybe he might get a multi-year deal.
All right, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We do want to hear from you on this Monday morning. And I know you would think that we were beyond all of this, that it wasn't going to come up anymore.
Right.
But that is Brian Harsin and the Auburn Tigers. And we are how many months past? Almost 3 months since we went through all of this, whether or not Brian Harsin will be back talk, and you think it would all die down, would have all died down. But Brian Harsin still has it, I guess you could say, in the front of his mind, up front. I don't know how to word that. He sat down with Chris Lowe. And this article came out about 3 days ago, and Brian Harsin basically doubled down on all of the conversation. I don't know if Chris Lowe was trying to do an article about spring and moving on and everything, but it turned out to be basically an article, Drew, that Brian Harsin just reiterated all of the words again, like he is still fuming about this because in this article, he's basically said that the simplest, strongest statement to come out of all of this was what I said at the time, that it was bull blank, and I still feel that way, says Brian Harsin, and he told Chris Lowe this a few days ago. Harsin still kind of has some hurt feelings.
Well, I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, they were trying to railroad him and ruin his career, Scott. I mean, they trumped up a bunch of garbage on him, and some boosters that are idiots that that just didn't like the hire to begin with, tried to ruin the guy. I mean, they wouldn't like it in their business if somebody tried to ruin them. I mean, it's totally pathetic what they tried to do. I mean, none of it was proven. None of it. They started rumors that were just absolute garbage. And, again, the first year wasn't great, but that happens a lot of times when you're making a dramatic change the way Auburn did. They had a good run going. I guarantee you these same morons, were lauding him and happy that he was 6-2 and getting excited. And then when everything went south, and especially when he lost to Alabama, then they start trying to trump up ways to get rid of him. And
you bring up that loss to Alabama in the article. Chris Lowe asked him about that game, saying that if you had beaten Alabama in that final game, would there have been any question about your coaching future? And Harsin simply said, yeah, good question. I don't know.
Well, I've gone on the record as saying if they beat Alabama and win the bowl game, none of this happens. None of it, zero, zip, because he would have had a lot of momentum. I mean, certainly they wouldn't have liked the fact that they lost 4 in a row, but they would have beaten their biggest rival in Jordan-Hare Stadium in front of a raucous crowd. And then if you win the Birmingham Bowl, and probably they wouldn't even have been in that bowl. They would have been in a different one. And if you win the bowl game, a Florida bowl game, for example,
right?
Then maybe, I don't know if Bo Nix would have come back. I doubt it, but still, you would have had a lot of momentum. There'd been a lot of TJ Finley would be the one that would be the favorite to be the quarterback. I wonder if they would have even brought in Zach Calzada, because that would have meant Finley had beaten Alabama and played well enough in the bowl game to get a win and establish himself. But again, it's that margin for error is small, and I think once Auburn lost the 6 games in a row to end the year, basically, they went from 6-2 to 6-7. When they and I guess I should say 5 in a row, but because they were 6-2, ranked I think 12th in America, and they ended up losing 5 in a row. But if you don't lose the 5 games in a row at the end, if you win the last 2 and you end up with an 8-win season and you win a bowl game and you beat Alabama, it's completely different. And again, I think it would have set Harsin up. I don't think there would have been nearly as much criticism. His never would have been reported his job was in jeopardy. And I do think that TJ Finley would probably be, instead of they're saying they're not going to decide anything until the fall because Zach Calzada was brought in and he was hurt with a shoulder injury and couldn't practice, I think they would be totally behind TJ Finley, even if Bo Nix had still left, and he probably would have, because Bo was not going to be healthy for the bowl game anyway. So I think Bo had already made up his mind to leave, even if they had beaten it. Because, again, he wouldn't have quarterbacked the Iron Bowl win. It would have been Finley. And remember, Finley came off the bench to save them against Georgia State too.
Yeah.
And so Finley would be solidly to me, he would be the coaching staff would have put it on record that he was the front runner. And then again, I just don't think that nearly as much would have been made out of the recruiting. I think there would have been more excitement. I think they might have even got another player or two because the negativity wouldn't have been around the program. I just think, and I've said that repeatedly, if they hadn't lost the 5 in a row and if they'd have won the last 2, even though they wouldn't have been happy with a 3-game losing streak and whatnot, I still think it would be a totally different deal. You wouldn't even have an article like that by Chris Lowe. Matter of fact, Chris Lowe probably would have done something, but it would have been more about the momentum Auburn has right now instead of the negativity still around the program.
Within this article, Brian Harsin tells Chris Lowe that something else he wanted to make clear is that people are underestimating this football team, and that's one thing I've told our players, Harsin says. He goes on to say in the article, when they say I can't recruit and can't do all these things, they're underestimating the players on this team. These are our players. We believe in them. We know the talent. These guys busted their asses this spring. I felt like the teams I've coached before. He went on to say we're in a much better position than we were 16 months ago. Our team, the leadership, the chemistry, the cohesiveness, all of those things have really shown up over the past 2 or 3 months. All right, let's go out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jimmy Lay is with us. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Jimmy.
Hey, good morning, guys. Spring is such a busy time for high school athletics. It just seems like there's more things going on in spring than any other time. Have you ever said, just when I thought I'd seen it all, then I see something I've never seen before? Have you guys ever said that?
Oh, yeah, we've said it before.
Yes.
Well, this weekend I had 2 of those. One is remarkable. One is just flat out just strange. The first one, Etowah and Westminster Christian in Game 2, Etowah pitcher Caleb Thompson threw a no-hitter and lost the game.
Wow.
I mean, he pitched great. He had 15 strikeouts, but in the 4th inning, he struck out the first 2 batters, then proceeded to walk a guy. They gave up an error in the outfield, and then 2 wild pitches later, they're down 2-0. Austin McDonald for Westminster pitched a 2-hit shutout on only 80 pitches in 7 innings. So took a lot for that to happen. The second thing is very unusual, guys. I don't know if you know anything about soccer and how that there's one head official and then there's 2 guys on the side that keep track of the where the ball goes, the direction when it goes out of bounds. Well,
yeah.
The head official, if you ever saw an official of any kind come out to the field with support dogs, if you saw that, you would probably think, I wonder what's going on. I wonder what their mental ability is going to be for this match or this game. Can you imagine an SEC official walking out to the middle of the field with 2 support dogs? Do you think that would ever happen?
I doubt it. I've never seen that.
You could say that some SEC officials have had dogs because they're blind and they need help walking.
Yeah.
Well, it happened Saturday. I won't tell you all the specifics, but basically, what do you think happened when the dogs got to the middle of the playing field?
I imagine they felt the need to do what dogs do when they're out for a walk and exercise.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what the protocol is for support dogs on the playing field, but I would imagine that is not it. And I even checked the HSA guidelines to see what it says about support, and it doesn't say anything. So you really can't say anything to anybody about that because then you'll be discriminating against them. But wow, they didn't really have anything to clean it up. They just had to do the best they could, if you know what I mean, and then the game proceeded. Yeah.
I wonder who drew the short straw, though, and had to try to clean that mess up. I mean,
well, the head official looked at it, started and then everybody went, no! And they tried as best they could. They had a little bag, and they got most of it up as bad. I mean, I ain't go out there and look, but I just thought, oh, my goodness, please tell me that this is not a good thing. Anyway, guys, that's what I saw over the weekend. Lincoln Riley, nobody liked him. That's why they don't like this tampering thing. If it was anybody but Lincoln Riley, might not get so much hubbub about this, but to me, that's why it's getting so much attention.
Well, yeah, because remember, and we talked about this on Saturday, Lincoln Riley threw such a gigantic fit that I think, 2 or 3 of his players were going to transfer from Oklahoma to Texas Tech, I believe it was at the time. And he did not like the interconference transfer rules. He was trying to squash that. He was trying to prevent that. He was trying to do things. And now he's at the forefront of a clear tampering case within college football.
To me, he couldn't get it done in Oklahoma with being in the weak Big 12. I don't see him getting it done at USC. Some people say, well, they're afraid that USC is about to rise up, and that's why they're worried about this tampering thing, and they're so concerned about it. I just think people don't like him because of what he's done in the past. He's always puffed his chest out there, but every time he plays the SEC, what happens, Drew?
Gets whipped. And he didn't want any part of it going to Oklahoma either. That's why he left. He didn't want any part of the SEC.
Not at all. Anyway, well, you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you later, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. All right, 256-576-4977. I know Jimbo Fisher has a national championship, but if you take away Jimbo's national championship, is Lincoln Riley and Jimbo Fisher much of the same?
Well, I mean, I think both of them are kind of hypocrites in a way because, again, USC's already taken full advantage of the transfer portal. It's just like the Caleb Williams thing. The whole thing was a farce. When he went into the portal, I think everybody expected him to go to USC and play for Lincoln Riley. I mean, come on. And Riley admitted they were going into the transfer portal, but I mean, I don't blame Pat Narduzzi for calling Lincoln Riley out with this thing because I just think overall that, he certainly wouldn't like it if, one of his guys at USC was being messed with and somebody was trying to poach him. But see, he's on the other side of the coin now because at USC, a lot of times he's going to do a lot of the poaching instead of somebody taking his players. But if this had happened to him at Oklahoma, he wouldn't have been happy at all. And he had some guys leave and go to other situations and get a chance to showcase their ability away from OU. But I just think overall, a lot of it does, is very similar to me. Of course, the main thing with Jimbo is he's trying to deflect the fact that they're basically buying players through NIL at Texas A&M, and that he's complaining about tampering in the portal, which I don't know why, because again, he hasn't lost a ton of players. There's been a few leave and move on to other places, but not many. He should be more concerned about taking DeMarvin Leal, who was thought to be a 5-star prospect, and you heard Brian Bosarge of Draft Countdown tell us at the start of this process he was going into last season the number 1 interior defensive line prospect in the draft, and they coach him into a 3rd-round pick because this coaching staff isn't very good. So that's more what I'd be concerned about. You can buy as many 5-star defensive linemen as you want, but can you develop them into players? And that's what I would be concerned about. So we'll see, but I do think both of them are kind of full of it.
You bring up something, you said develop players.
Right.
And I know we're against the break, but it goes back to the Malik Willis situation. Can Hugh Freeze develop players?
Yes, he can definitely develop players. He did it at Ole Miss offensively. He had LeCron Twedwells become a first-round pick. Now, after they leave, I mean, if he doesn't succeed long-term, that's on him. But he had guys drafted. There's no doubt about it. I think, he did a good job with Malik Willis. Malik was not nearly as productive at Auburn as he was, for Liberty. he developed him into a third-round pick that some thought would go in the first round.
Right.
So I think, Hugh Freeze, definitely he's got his personal issues. There's no doubt about it. Definitely his program ran afoul of the NCAA in pre-NIL at Ole Miss. But as just a pure football coach, yes, I think he's better than both Lincoln Riley and Jimbo Fisher.
Let's get that final break in. When we come back, your tomorrow's headlines today, live from Bill Penny Toyota.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a new wreck southbound Parkway Access Road just north of Oakwood. That one does have injuries. Got one southbound on Hughes Road north of Madison Boulevard. It's an injury type. Bird Spring and Day Road in Decatur had injuries reported. Porter and Green Hills a no injury. Point Mallard and Upper River Road both reporting as no injury. Need employees for medical, admin, or accounting positions? Snelling can help. 256-382-4000. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
There goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way, hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of Bosch's Quick Ice Pro, the industry's fastest refrigerator ice maker and bottle fill technology for hands-free, customizable water options, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. Save on Bosch refrigeration now with spring appliance savings at the Home Depot. Valid April 21st to May 11th, U.S. only. Gas range extra while supplies last. See store for details.
Did you know that your car, truck, or SUV may be worth over 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we'd love your trade-in for a personalized custom factory order on a 2022 Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, or F-150. You'll get exactly the color and options you want, and Woody Anderson Ford will save you 5% off MSRP, plus you'll get any additional Ford factory rebates. Or if you need a new ride today, choose a Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicle. We have over 100 to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with our 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. At Woody Anderson Ford, whether it's a new order or a pre-owned, we promise to always do the right thing. Corner of George and Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Fill up with Eagle Insulation. We'll come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Indeed, welcome back to Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And we do have a few little headlines for you as we kind of begin the Monday morning. Over the weekend, Auburn basketball did pick up a transfer, a big-time transfer indeed, another big guy to go along. They lost Walker Kessler, so they got another guy added to the field, and I got to figure out, I tried working on this first name. I want to say I forget how to say the first name, but it's Broom is the last name.
Well, I was going with John I. Broom, who is a transfer from Morehead State, one of the top big men in the country as far as in the transfer portal. He's someone that averaged over 16 points per game, almost a double-double for Morehead State last year, and went into the transfer portal and was highly sought by just about every school in the country, no doubt about it. Bruce Pearl was very excited about him. His son, Stephen Pearl, led the way in recruiting the young man. And as I'll just read the statement from Bruce Pearl from the weekend. He said, he is a great kid and comes from a great family, extremely hard worker. He has a strong back to the basket game that we'll take full advantage of. What's also exciting is that he has the ability to face up and guard all 5 positions on the floor. He moves really well for his size. Assistant coach Stephen Pearl did an outstanding job building trust and a relationship with John I. He played a key factor in John I's decision. And
Jonai.
Jonai, okay. Well, it's Jonai, okay.
Yeah, Auburn put out the release, and they put it in there.
Okay.
I was like, that's why I was like, I had to find it. And, Jonai. Yeah, kind of like Jonai.
He will replace Walker Kessler, in effect, who has moved on to the NBA. Jabari Smith moving on as well. But they've already got Johan Traor coming in, the 5-star big man, to replace Jabari Smith, and then now they're going to replace Walker Kessler with John I. Broom, excuse me. So a big addition for Auburn, literally and figuratively. They've had 2 of them, and they're still pursuing Julian Phillips, another 5-star forward, to try to fill that one scholarship they have remaining. They had Alabama with a couple left, Auburn now with 1.
All right, so that is some college basketball news, and I know we are only 19 or 20 games into the Major League Baseball season, but the Atlanta Braves have a big series coming up starting today as they welcome the 15-6 New York Mets to town. Braves.
Actually, I think that's a road trip.
Is it a road trip?
I believe it is. They're continuing their road swing. They're going to New York. They just got through.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is.
They just finished the 3-game series, lost 2 out of 3 in Texas and Arlington.
That's a big series early in the year.
It's a 4-game set against the Mets, and so the Mets have been red hot under the new manager, Buck Showalter, and so Max Fried trying to get them off on the right foot tonight in New York.
All right, so there you go. The Braves, as we mentioned, come in 10-13. The Mets come in 15-6. Atlanta 5 games behind the Mets early on in the season. New York 7-3 in their last 10. Atlanta 5-5 in their last 10. Braves come in winners of 2 straight. So that is a big series right there. High school baseball is ongoing over the weekend. We did see several teams make their way to the next round. It'd be the round 3, or I believe the quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals for every class, but it'll only be the second round for 7A, as they only have 4 rounds. But yes, the Buckhorn Bucks are going to face Hartselle after they move on. They'll host Hartselle. That could end up being the biggest crowd in Bucks baseball history, because that Hartselle team is number 1 in the state under the legendary coach William Booth. A very good team. Buckhorn having a great year as they advance. If they got a road sweep on Friday night, and then of course Hazel Green gets a home sweep of a very good Oxford Yellow Jackets team. So Hazel Green will be moving on to the quarterfinals as well. In 6A play, we talked about it. James Clemens upset Huntsville High on the road. In 7A play, 4-3, 2-1 to sweep Huntsville. So the James Clemens Jets are going to move on and face Hewitt Trussville, and I believe that will be on the road against Jeff Malden's squad, who's one of the top programs in all of the state of Alabama. And then Jared Smith, great friend of the show, the Bob Jones Patriots sweep Sparkman at home, and now they will be traveling to the Vestavia Hills Rebels, that tradition-rich program under the late Sammy Dunn that rose to prominence nationally. They will be taking on Vestavia on the road on Friday night.
In Class 5A, Madison Academy is still alive. They will take on Alexandria.
They won Game 3 at Corner. Yep.
Russellville still alive in Class 5A as well. If you look at Class 4A, Etowah got the best of Westminster Christian Academy, but Brooks is still alive there. So we'll run down some more high school baseball as the week progresses along, but that's it for us. That's 2 hours. We've kicked off the week. We got 4 more great shows coming up, though.
Absolutely. Thank you to Bill Penny for hosting us once again. Great sponsor. And we appreciate Brian Bosard's Deep Fried Draft Countdown, and, of course, Travis Schreier and our callers.
We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, folks, 7 o'clock, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Download the app today so you can take us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.